So as I was uploading this video, there was a report that just came out that I think ties into what I'm going to talk about in this video. So I wanted to talk about it with you guys for a second. According to Michael Kay of NewJersey.com, he's saying the Bears are growing very, very impatient with the Eagles and with their asking price for Carson Wentz. They feel that Carson is way overvalued, that he is not worth the asking price. And the Bears are going to remain disciplined in what they will give up for him. So this is something that I'm going to talk about at parts in this video. I think it's very important to acknowledge that the Eagles could be losing trade leverage, that teams are not willing to meet the asking price. And if that happens, maybe, just maybe, Carson is either traded for a lot less or he's not traded at all. Something to think about. With that, let's start this video. There is one reason why Carson Wentz wants out of Philly, and that is Howie Roseman. And you know, I can fix this whole thing. Instead of trading Carson Wentz, I'll fire Howie Roseman. Yo, everybody, King Dingbat here. So today we have come with the hell is that? It's a big ass dog. Dallas still stinks. Everybody, the way King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope you guys are doing well. So it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, and Carson Wentz is still on this team. Now, Saturday night, people were talking about the trade was about to go down with the Bears. We heard reports yesterday that the next 24 hours to 48 hours, Carson was gone. Well, you know, things are starting to change a little bit. Things are starting to slow down a little bit, right? We're hearing from guys like Ian Rappaport who are saying, look, it looked very close and all these kind of things, but it looks like everybody is taking a deep breath, everybody's going in their own corners, and everything is kind of getting slowed up. So when is Carson going to get traded? I don't know, but I can tell you this. I wish it would happen soon because I'm tired of talking about it. I either want it to be done or I want it to be over and then come out and say, we're not moving him. I want one of those two things. I don't like this waiting period where I'm checking every 5 minutes to see if Carson Wentz has been traded, you know. You hear a lot of different rumors right now. Of course, we heard about the Bears and everything they wanted. Now we're hearing that he prefers the Indianapolis Colts. He would like to go to the Indianapolis Colts. If I was him and I had to choose between the Bears and the Colts, I would choose the Colts too, because I think, one, that city would be a little easier on him. If some of the things have been getting to him in Philly, they're going to have the same problem in Chicago. So Indianapolis may be a little easier town. Plus, I think they're just a better roster. So I understand why he would go or want to go to Indianapolis. But at the same time, and we hear things now like the Colts are pursuing other options at quarterback as well as the Bears. The Colts, somebody said that they're even calling Atlanta about Matt Ryan. So you don't know what is going on. There's also a lot of things that come out, where it's like a mystery team and then there's this team and this team is calling. And a lot of it is just bull. A lot of it is just the Eagles trying to maybe, seem like they have a bidding war going on so that these teams like the Colts or the Bears bid higher. You don't know. But what I do know is this. He is still on the Eagles, and he hasn't been traded yet. Why is that? Why has Carson Wentz not been traded? Pro Football Talk even just put something out there saying that the Eagles are losing leverage. That they're losing leverage. And I think if there's one reason why Carson Wentz has not been traded yet, it's because the Eagles are not getting what they want. They're not getting the value that they placed on him. And I said all along, I don't think they can get a first-round pick for him. I said, maybe a second, most likely a third that could become like a conditional second. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they can get a first. But right now, whatever they are asking for, and I don't know, people are saying 2 first rounds. Teams are not willing to give that much up. And the Eagles, they need a lot back because they're going to have to eat $33 million. You're going to have to eat $33 million. That will be a record within the NFL. So there's a lot going on I think it sounds like things are slowing up a little bit. Still sounds like eventually something will happen. It just be prepared that they may not get what you think they can get. I hope they can get the most they can get for him, because if we're gonna do this, which, as I say in every video, I would not do this. I would not trade him. But if you're going to, you got to get a lot for him. You got to, okay? And it's just right now. There's just so much going on, right? We heard when Doug Peterson, he got fired. Remember, Doug Peterson gets fired. We hear the reason Doug Peterson got fired was because he didn't want to go with Carson Wentz as a starter. Him and Carson Wentz, their relationship was fractured. They weren't talking to each other. And so the Eagles, in order to keep Carson happy, fired Doug. Well, now we hear reports that say Doug Peterson didn't believe in Jalen Hurts. He thought Carson was the guy. He wanted to fix Carson Wentz. And the Eagles front office and Howie Roseman, he didn't want Carson Wentz. He wanted Jalen Hurts. So they fired Doug. It can't be both. It can't be both. Okay? Things are every day. There's new reports, new anonymous sources saying Carson's this, or Doug was this, or Howie Roseman's this. We just don't know. All I know is this. When it comes to this front office, ever since Howie Roseman has taken power in 2010, there has been contention, dysfunction, and problems. This is not a lie. This is not making up. This is fact. You can go back to when the Eagles had Andy Reid as a head coach. Andy Reid used to be able to make, he had control of the player personnel. The Eagles stripped him of that, like his last year, maybe the year before his last year, because they thought it was just too much for him. They gave that power to Howie Roseman. One of the first big fights that was reported, I remember, was when the Eagles drafted Brandon Graham. Andy Reid wanted Earl Thomas, and Howie wanted Brandon Graham. Now, Brandon Graham has worked out in recent years. He came along late in his career. I love Brandon Graham. Okay, my point is that there was friction. Andy Reid leaves. Then you had Chip Kelly come in. Chip Kelly and Howie Roseman. It was like boom. I mean, they went at it. Okay, Chip Kelly got power. Howie goes to the boiler room. Howie comes back out eventually. Chip leaves, Howie's back. Boom, he takes control. He's with Doug Peterson. Now, Doug Peterson and Howie, they're not getting along. Do you know why Howie Roseman and Doug, you know what the problem was? The problem, in my opinion, was that Doug Peterson wanted more say on personnel. He wanted more control because he wanted guys that he felt fit what he was trying to do. Howie said no. That's why this whole thing didn't work. I guarantee you that will come out someday. So, Doug leaves. Now you have Nick Sirianni. Dude, he's got no chance against Howie Roseman. He's got no chance. You know what I mean? Howie's like a old comic book character. What's the guy's with the big head, right? Brainiac or whatever. That's Howie Roseman. He's Brainiac. He's calculating the calculations. He's figuring out how he's going to come at you and chop your head off. That's what he does. Okay, so now you're in a situation where they're saying Carson Wentz, he'll talk to the owner, he'll talk to everybody within the organization, he'll talk to the coach, he won't talk to one guy. One guy he won't return phone calls for. Howie Roseman. You see the pattern here? The pattern isn't this isn't just like, oh, this is the first time this has happened. We haven't had problems within the organization for. This has been happening with Howie Roseman since 2010. Okay, there's constantly guys that have problems. There's talent evaluators, talented people, personnel people who left because of him. There are people who will not work with him. Do you remember when they hired Joe Douglas a few years ago? Before they hired Joe Douglas, what was the big problem? GMs, any good GM, any established GM did not want to work with him. That was the narrative that was out there. It's not changing. Now you're in a situation where you have a 28-year-old franchise quarterback who's supposed to be your franchise quarterback who basically lost all trust in this GM because the GM promised him the world and gave him nothing. He's a politician, okay? And then he goes behind his back and drafts the quarterback, okay? Whether you like Jalen Hurts or not, that's not the point. The strategy was stupid. So you've got a coach who's a quarterback that's your franchise that doesn't trust this guy. You know, everybody keeps saying, well, Carson Wentz wants out. He's a baby. He's not strong enough. He's not doing it. And I ain't trying to defend him. I'm just trying to show people that there's another way to look at this. There's another way to look at it. Maybe he's saying, I'm 28 years old. I just had the worst year of my life. I have to get better. I have to get back to basics. I can't trust this guy going forward to run this organization and to get the right players. I am not going to waste my time. I am going to go somewhere where I can win. Just saying, that's a possible thought Carson has. Right or wrong, it is. If I'm the owner of a team and I have a quarterback like Carson Wentz, who had a bad year and maybe he's going to have an open competition with my other young quarterback who, by all means, I like everything about him. And he's got a problem with the GM, and the coach had a problem with the GM. Eventually, I'm going to catch on that it's the GM. That the GM is telling me to eat $33 million in dead cap space because his mistakes. Because of his mistakes, I have to pay $33 million. And then I don't hold him accountable. Why is Carson held accountable? Why is Doug? Why was Chip? Why are all these people held accountable? Yet Howie Roseman isn't. He literally said in his press conference at the end of the year, or when they hired Nick Sirianni, end of year press conference, right? It was the end of year press conference. He took Q&A, right? He said, I don't hold Howie accountable for the picks because the guys he initially wanted weren't there. What? What kind of logic is that? I mean, doesn't he have a list? Well, if this guy's there, I like this guy. I like this guy. I like that. He had one player written down? This is insane. What does he have on Jeffrey Lurie? He has pictures of Lurie at Bravo like this. Right? Get his ass smacked or something. I don't know. I just know that this whole thing is messed up. Okay? And even if we get 2 first-round picks, Howie's going to make the picks. The problem is that the Eagles, this GM, has got to go. He has to go. Because I am worried about this organization going forward. Whether they keep Carson, whether they trade him. Look, you could trade Carson and build with Jalen Hurts and he could be very successful. But if you don't have a guy who can get the right talent and is just going to, every time somebody doesn't agree with him or doesn't like something, he's just going to get rid of them, we're never going to build anything. How are we going to build? It's crazy, you know. People forget Chip Kelly, he wasn't a good coach, but his drafts were a lot better than Howie Roseman, and a lot of them helped us get the 2017 Super Bowl. So, you know, it's just crazy things going on. Now you have a situation where the Eagles, I don't know how much value they're going to get. You've heard about the things with Russell Wilson. He might want to trade. Well, if Russell Wilson wants to trade, all those teams that are going for Carson are going hardcore for Russell Wilson. Then you have the whole Dak Prescott situation. He's technically a free agent. He is not in the Cowboys hype videos. He follows Washington on Instagram. And, I mean, he could be possibly available too if it goes sour with Dallas. So the Eagles, they're in a situation where they got to trade Carson quick, and they're asking for 2-1s. I think this is going to be harder than we think. Maybe it's not going to work out. And to be honest, if it doesn't, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with bringing Carson back. I kind of like the idea that he has to deal with the adversity of not being able to be moved when he feels like it, that he has to go and fight and compete. He's got no choice. Sometimes that kind of stuff, man, brings the best out of you. Adversity. You know, anybody can be happy and great when things are easy. It's when things get tough. That's when you know what you got. You know, that's when you know what you got. And maybe that's what he needs. Maybe it's exactly what he needs, even though it's not what he wants. But we're going to find out. But I'm a little nervous about this team. I'm nervous about the direction because I think we have a GM who seems like he has almost as much power as the head coach. And it scares the hell out of me. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.